5 Rulers in History. There have truly been many great rulers in history. Some managed to conquer the world, some managed to end violence and put their countries into periods of peace and stability, and some changed not only their nations but the world. Here are 5 of history's greatest rulers. Number 5. At number 5, Genghis Khan was perhaps the most brutal leader the world has ever seen, but he was one of the most successful. He founded the Mongol Empire, one of the most powerful forces in the world at that time. Genghis Khan's brilliant military strategies and tactics puts him on this list. He conquered most of the world during his prime and united many nomadic tribes in Asia. Number 4. Royal ruler at number 4, Queen Elizabeth I was the Queen of England and Ireland from 1558 until the day she died. She has had many nicknames, the most famous of which being the Virgin Queen, because of the fact that she never depended on a king but ruled quite well herself. Queen Elizabeth I set the model for a female ruler at that time and is probably one of the most successful female rulers in history. Before her reign, most females weren't thought to be fit of such power, and they were secondary to kings or other male heirs. Elizabeth managed to prove that her gender could match and even do better than the rule of men. Number 2. Coming in at 3, Charlemagne was the king of the Franks from 768 to his death. He has had a long record of accomplishments that prove his worth to be on this list. He expanded and united the Frankish kingdoms into the single powerful Frankish empire. His rule is also associated with the Carolingian Renaissance, the period in which art and other cultural artifacts revived and peaked through the Catholic Church. Number 2. Ruler number 2, Napoleon I of France, later known as Emperor Napoleon, was a prominent military and political leader of France, and he heavily influenced European politics in the early 19th century. He basically dominated continental Europe through superior military tactics and intelligence. He continued to prosper until the French invasion of Russia in 1812, and his success steadily declined. But his establishment of the Napoleon Code laid the administrative and judicial foundations for much of Western Europe. Number 1. And at number 1 is Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States and led the country through its greatest internal struggle, the Civil War. He successfully preserved the Union. If not for Abraham Lincoln, the United States would probably be divided into 2 countries right now. He also signed the Emancipation Proclamation abolishing slavery in America. Abraham Lincoln is widely considered one of the greatest US presidents, if not one of the greatest leaders in history.